Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful fall day here in Idaho. Today's project, we're working on our wolf stretchers. You know, wolves are a beautiful animal. They're awesome. I love them. I love to get them tanned and just display them. They're very pretty, pretty majestic, but they're big. I'm 6'3". These stretchers are way taller than I am. They're 8 feet tall. And I just want to explain a little bit to you here. This stretcher here is made to NAFTA or fur harvester standards. Just kind of a parallel, just it goes up, nothing special about it. You know, wolves, when they sell them, they measure them, length and width. There's certain standards they go by. For me, those standards don't really matter because I don't sell my wolves. I keep every one of them, I tan them and display them, they're beautiful. And so this stretcher doesn't really do my wolves justice. It's pretty narrow up in here. It doesn't expand on their shoulders or their bellies. This stretcher here is one that I've built. And you can see it's a lot wider, it's a lot more robust. Up here where their shoulders would be and their bellies, I've made this stretcher so that it's wider. It'll display those wolves and dry them much bigger. You know, wolves will shrink when they dry the first time, they shrink when you tan them. And I want to do the very best I can to keep them as large as I possibly can. So when they come back from the tannery, they're big and they're beautiful. So today what we're going to do is I'll walk you through the process on how I build these stretchers. I'm going to build one for you on video and give you the measurements and everything you need. So if you're fortunate enough to get a wolf, you can have a stretcher if you want to build one. I'll get my camera up here and do a close-up of the stretcher just to show you a few things. But stay tuned and we'll get building one of these babies. So I'll run a close-up of this stretcher that we're going to build. I got a baseboard there. You can see it's slanted where the slots are. Got a tailboard built into it. And as we go up, you can see it's nice and wide and robust all the way up to the top. And we'll contrast that with this other stretcher here. Just is built to slide on the one side, but it has no tailboard. And as you go up, it just narrows and narrows and narrows and narrows and gets up there where the head goes. They're both 8 feet tall, but the stretcher on the left is going to make your wolf a lot nicer, much bigger, and stretches it out well. So let's get building it. I suppose you can make your stretcher out of any kind of wood that you happen to have access to. Pine will work. There's other woods. I use a soft hardwood. This wood I have is alder. Fortunate enough to have a source for it. And then what I've got here is I've got 3 boards. They're 6 inches wide. I've had them planed down to 5/8 inches thick. Of course, they're 8 feet tall. I got a smaller one here that I'll use probably for the tailboard or the baseboard at the bottom. But anyway, that's what mine are being built out of. And like I said, 5/8 inches thick. And anyway, I'll get measuring them here and probably use this one as a pattern to kind of trace it. I want to make it just a little wider in a couple of places than the original one. When I'm done, I'll give you the measurements for it every foot or so. So if you wanted to build one, you'd know how to do it. So, all right, stay tuned. We'll get going on it. Okay, so this is a little deceiving laying on the table. You can't appreciate how tall it is, but this is an 8 foot long stretcher. I've got a board laid under it that I'm going to trace out. So I'll trace it out and then we'll go from there. See if we can see that line that goes all the way around that. Anyway, it kind of bevels out here in the belly and the shoulders. It gets wide. Then down here towards the bottom, we're going to go narrow because it'll be wider when you stretch it out. Well, the next thing we'll do is we'll jigsaw this puppy out. Then we'll sand the edges down. So here we go. We got her all jigsawed down and it's fairly consistent. The bottom's on the far end there. Anyway, now I'll just sand it down. Just a couple of little wowies here, not bad. Just knock down a couple of high spots. Kind of smooth it out on the edges right here. And it looks pretty good. Okay, so I got my first board done. Now I'm just going to lay the board over the top of the second board and just trace it. And that will give me my second board. I'll just do the same process. little sander, hand sander, make it nice and smooth. Okay, so what I've done is I've measured every foot down this board and made marks. But here at the top end, I made a mark every inch, and then I've measured the widths. So every inch for the first 12, then I went a foot, another foot, another foot, another foot, another foot, and then the last foot I did every inch as well, so you'd know how wide it is. That way you can lay your boards together just like I've done here, and then you can make those width measurements and connect the dots, and you'll know how to cut it out. Down in the description I'll put all those measurements so they can be replicated. Anyway. Okay, so the base here that this hooks together with is 32 inches wide, so I'll cut that board next. And then we'll cut these slots in here. Then we'll cut our tail board. Then we'll put the thing together. So you can see on this base it's a slight angle up. Just cut it in the middle, I guess, and it's wide enough for a 1/4 inch bolt to slide in. And it's about 13 1/4 inches from the edge over to where it stops. So you can see what I've done is I've marked my line, drilled a hole, and I take a jigsaw and I saw that out. That's where my stretcher's gonna anchor here. It'll slide in and out. So my tailboard on here is 47 inches long. You can see how I start out with I think that's a 4-inch board measured out here and see. Yeah, I start out with a 4-inch board and then I taper it, and that allows my stretcher to close a little more. So if I have a little smaller wolf, I can get it on there. So I'm going to start with a 4-inch wide board, and then I'll taper it down and we'll be ready to attach it. Okay, here's my tail board. It's 47 inches long, and I've got a 4-inch square that I started with here, and then what I did is I drew a center line down the board. Back here we start at 2.5 wide. We taper up here to 1 1/4 inches. So I'll just saw that out now, and it'll be ready to attach to the base. So you can see how I've cut that, and this tapers down. 2.5 tapers down to 1 1/4 inches right here. That's going to go for the tail board in the center. It'll attach to the center of the base. Okay, so on this stretcher that I made before, here in the tail board, I've put in a support pin. So I've drilled into here on both sides, drilled this out here, and I put a piece of 3/16 steel rod in there that will support it and keeps it from warping. I've done the same up here on the top. There's the same pin in there that goes through here. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to, you can probably see here, that I've got my board marked where those pins need to go. And I'm going to drill some pilot holes, and then I'll lengthen those out with a longer drill bit. And then I have to do the same here. And I'll drill it through here on the tail board as well. The key is you got to make sure your drill bit's level or it'll pop out the top. So I just stick my base in there where it's going to go, and then I mark my line across. Now I'll drill that for my rod, and I'm ready to put this thing together. Okay, so here's my base. I've got it marked right here. This is going to sit right in here. We'll center that up. We'll glue it down and we'll screw it in place, and then we'll be ready to assemble our stretcher together. It's coming along. I got my pin cut here. It's about 9.5 inches. It'll go in there. It'll spread apart. I've already got the one up in the top, so we're about done. Okay, I got some glue on there. I pre-drilled it so nothing cracks, hopefully. Okay, I got my base put on with my tail board in it. Now I'm just going to lay this down, and we'll put our stretcher together. We got to drill the holes for the bottom still. Okay, so I've laid it all together. Got my center pin through my board here. Got my center pin at my top. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip the stretcher over, and then that'll show me where I need to drill my holes for my bolts. So see, as I've got it flipped over, my stretcher boards come down and there's my groove. I'll just take my drill and I'll drill a hole right here and right here, and then I'm ready to put my bolts in. Okay, first one. Okay, 1/4 inch bolt with a washer on that side. Put a big washer on the other side. All right, now we can spread that open and lock it in position. All right, the only thing left is to hook this together. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to staple a piece of webbing over it. We'll hold that together. All right, that's a wrap. Well, got it all done. There's another wolf stretcher to add to the pile. I'll start at the bottom here and show you a few things on it. You can see how we've got it so that it slides. Those are angled up. There's a tail board in the middle. Got a rod going through that and through each side to support it. Same thing up here. I've got another rod up there that holds it together. That'll stop it from warping and hold it better. But that's 8 foot tall. That'll stretch those wolves out nice and pretty for the tannery. Anyway, that's a wrap for today's project. Appreciate you watching. Hope you found something here that was helpful or beneficial. Anyway, subscribe if you'd like, and hit the button for notifications, and give me a thumbs up if you like it. If you got some comments, questions, whatever, chime in, give me some comments, and I'll try to help you out. But anyway, hopefully next time we post this here, we'll have a big old wolf we'll put on it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day.